We have a BTS producer talking about Jimin and his relationships. We also have a member of BTS begging armies to not do something. And then we have an update on the whole HYBE case. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Disci. Let's get into it. We need to talk about what's going on with HYBE and this whole investigation because it got twisted into something that might be a little bit more deeper than what we already or initially knew. If you're not aware of what's going on, I'll give you a quick rundown, and basically the label is currently in investigation by the government for alleged stock trickery. I don't know the exact terminology for that. It's believed that Bang told the initial investor that they had no intention of going public with the company, only to allegedly be actively going public as they were telling people that. This of course changed a lot of people's decisions on whether or not they wanted to invest in the company, as a lot of investors, especially early ones, essentially their payday is when the company goes public. So in their mind, if the company's not going public or has no intention of going public anytime soon, they might decide to take their money out to invest in something else. It was then allegedly believed that since the stocks were very low, since it was prior to them going public, they had ended up selling as much stock as they could, allegedly to a private equity company, in which the private equity company would buy out and then would essentially sell when the label goes public, to which their stocks would go up and they would be selling at a higher value. And so as you can imagine, this is definitely really bad, and it sounds really bad right now. Keep in mind, of course, this is all alleged. We don't know if this happened at all. It's just, in my opinion, absolutely crazy that there are people who potentially have done this. Of course, I don't know. We don't know if HYBE did anything like this or even anything close to anything like this. But the fact that there's people talking about it and can give the playbook would mean that people have done it in the past. And that's crazy that people can think to do something like this. Like, that's insane in my opinion. Businessmen are so smart, and you can say that it's bad because obviously it's illegal and it's bad, but it's so smart that they can even to do something like this. I would have never, even in my wildest imagination, even if I sat there for 10 hours, would have come up with a plan like that. Now, if HYBE and Bang were to be found guilty of what they were said that they did, then they could face anywhere between several years in prison to now apparently a lifetime in prison. And then also, of course, a big hefty fine. Of course, the sentencing is based on how much profit was made. So if it's not that much, then you get less. But if it's a lot, you get more. You could potentially even get a life sentence. There's another thing that HYBE is being investigated for as well. And as you can imagine, if this much money is being moved around and or allegedly gotten through trickery and that sort of stuff, then you can imagine that there could probably be some sort of tax fraud involved. And so apparently they are being investigated by the National Tax Service as well. This of course is a different type of fine, right? So the stock and the alleged manipulation of that, if the label did in fact do that, that would be its own separate sentence. And then of course the tax service would also then try to get a sentence as well, as these are two different entities that are allegedly being violated. This is not good news for any artist under HYBE and will potentially be catastrophic for BTS. And I've said so before and I'll say it again a million times. Of course, BTS will not be in as much danger as any other artist that's in the label. The smaller the artist is, they will experience more danger for losing their label. But of course, if you're just worried about BTS, they'll likely find another label to take them in. But the difference is they'll have less leverage at that point. And how many American labels would probably give them a good deal? And even if it's not the worst deal ever, it probably would still be a better deal than most artists would get. But it would not be anywhere near the same deal that HYBE gave to BTS, because HYBE owed that to BTS. So they had to. But if you talk about something like Columbia Records or Island Records, what do they owe BTS? They have so many huge artists, and combined income of all those artists, they probably do make a lot more than BTS has ever made for HYBE. So we can probably expect that they wouldn't be making as much as they would have if they stayed with their current label. And then we can expect that they probably wouldn't get as much promotion or marketing as they might get if they were with HYBE. So this is not good news. This is all around really, really terrible news. And of course, regardless of how you feel about Bang and about the situation in general, I think all we can do is just hope that this is not true. And I'm on the side right now that this is not true. I'm just going to believe that. Because if I do believe that they did it, then I have to come to terms with the fact that BTS and their comeback might get fully canceled. Plus, again, right now, there is no real evidence to prove that anything happened, right? The investigation has not closed. And if it was so obvious, it would have closed by now. But of course, we don't have to just think about that. There's also fun news that's happening recently too. During the recent stream that JK did, V ended up popping on and they discussed sort of their recent plans on what they wanted to do. And one of those things was, of course, exercising and getting more in shape, I guess, or maintaining their shape. They talked about running alongside the Han River and doing that 3 times a week. This was funny because I think it was one of the first times that the boys have explicitly leaked their location or where they would be. JK said that if he leaked the time in which he would be there, would everyone go after him like Pokemon Go, which I think is extremely funny, right? I just imagine a bunch of people trying to capture him like a Pokemon. But here's the thing, none of them have actually confirmed that they were doing this, or I guess leaked the specific days they were going, because the moment you say that you're going to be there several times a week, there will probably be people camping outside just looking for you. So even if you didn't mention the time, someone's going to find you anyway if you're indeed going to be there. But it was interesting because they seem to lay some ground rules. And I'm assuming if they find out that these rules are not being followed, they'll just just stop running there. But they seem to be really open to the idea of meeting people on their run. Specifically, they welcomed anyone in the community to run alongside with them. But don't start any conversation, don't talk to them, don't say anything. It seems like they don't want to try to do something that would pull away focus from running, and so they wouldn't want to converse because of that reason or whatever. Other rules were more silly things, like if you see the members slowing down or walking, don't assume it's because they got tired, don't ask if they stopped running, just silly things like that. And they said that it should be around 8 to 9 p.m. that they would be doing this. So if you guys do end up going, let me know. I obviously can't go. I'd probably be pretty tempted to fly out there and see if I can run alongside with them, make a fool of myself, but I'm not going to do that. Also, I don't have the money to do that. But if any of you are in the area and are going to do that, let me know how it goes. But we also got a lot of other big fish to fry right now, as Jimin and Song Dae-eun's dating rumors have just been progressing more and more, and it's been kind of insane what is being said. People were going back to an old interview in which BTS's producer Pdogg was doing an interview talking about the songwriting process for Jimin and his solo endeavors, specifically when there were a few songs given to Jimin that talked about him sharing love with someone. Jimin responded back saying that he doesn't know if he could relate to those songs because he doesn't know if he's capable of loving someone. And while this sounds really sad, it probably comes from a place where he just hadn't been in a relationship. So he doesn't know if that is something that he can feel, or doesn't even know what that feels like. Pdogg then mentioned that this had led into the song Who, which ultimately is what Jimin went with. People took this a very interesting way because you can use this statement in various different ways, but they used it to say that Jimin is a liar, saying that he obviously is with Song right now and he doesn't know what love is and that that's a lie. Or some people are saying that it's rude because obviously this seems like he knows what love is, but is disrespecting his lover or girlfriend that he's saying he doesn't have. And I guess people would assume that he would also be implying that he doesn't love his girlfriend and he's with her for some reason. I don't know. Now, obviously you can take it that way, but I also feel like the more obvious way to take it is that he clearly hasn't been in a relationship. And what people are assuming is a rumor. Like, this is confirmation of that. The rumors of Jimin and Song together are simply just rumors. Rumors that are pieced together through speculation, people wanting it to be true, and no evidence. While literally right here you have someone who is close to the BTS members, close to Jimin, who's worked on his music, saying that Jimin has openly admitted in private that he is not with anyone. So why not take it to mean that? That is quite very telling that he was not in a relationship, nor was he ever in a relationship with Song. It's extremely strange to take it the other direction and then accuse him of not loving someone or not having a soul or not caring about his girlfriend, when obviously if he were to be in a relationship with someone, I'm sure he would love them. But obviously I think if he's saying he's not sure if he can relate to any of these romantic songs, that is probably due to the fact that he doesn't feel love yet with anyone because he hasn't been with anyone. I don't know, in my opinion, it just seems so obvious to think of it that way, and people are just choosing to paint him as the villain right now. And I think people are upset because I think there are a lot of people who believe that the dating rumors are true. And I think those people are really upset that Jimin would choose to be in a relationship with someone and not to choose to be in a relationship with them instead. But also there is this crazy part of the community too, right? If people spend a lot of time defending Jimin, saying that he's not dating someone and then he ends up dating that exact person, those people feel like their celebrity has betrayed them. That, in my opinion, is also crazy. So every level of this just goes from one crazy to the other. There's no sane part in this conversation because it's all speculative and made up. And so when you're trying to piece things that are made up to things that are real conversations that were had, you're going to come up with answers that don't make any sense, and then you're going to draw your own conclusion to that. And that's crazy because the basis of everything and that whole argument was speculative. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.